Yeah, welcome once again to this new English lesson. We are in P6 and like I normally tell you, our lessons are following the workbook. This is term 2 English. Yeah, so workbook of term 2 English P6. From the previous lesson where we ended on page 14, we now continue from the same page, page 14, with a new structure pattern, and that is using so that. When I check what is in the workbook, we have something slightly different, but we want to cover these things, yes, step by step. We don't want to combine them all at once and we move like that. So I've chosen to divide it like this. I believe when you follow this, you'll be able to do the activity I'll assign you. Even in the activity, you'll notice some changes. Bear with us, want to make it a bit simpler for you to follow and understand. So the pattern we are looking at today is using so that. We see examples here, and let's look at the first example here. Their uncle was a very strong man. Their uncle was a very strong man. He won the battle. He won the battle. Rewrite that sentence. Those sentences using so that. We have so. Then after so there are some words. Again after that there are some words. Still before so we are meant to use some words. So what will our answer look like? We have a few examples given to us in the workbook on that very page 14. But it's important that we also follow and master this. Their uncle was so strong that he won the battle. He won the battle. So our answer is their uncle was so strong that he won the battle. Just like that. Check. There are some words we have omitted. There are some words we have omitted. Apply the word man in your answer with so that. The answer will not come out well. Apply the word very in the sentence we have used this so that. We will tell you the answer has not come out well. Why? So and very are both adverbials of degree. Adverbials of degree. Yes. So if they are expressing degree, they can't appear in the same answer. Why? They mean the same, they have the same meaning. So when we use so, we ignore very or we throw it permanently out. Question 2. My aunt was a very wise lady. She educated all my cousins. My aunt was a very wise lady. She educated all my cousins. Remember, cousin is your child's, your aunt's child. Your aunt's child is your cousin. Still, a cousin can be your uncle's child. So let's rewrite these two sentences as one using our structure pattern so that. I will say, my aunt was, check our pattern, right from example 1. So wise that she educated all my cousins. Do we have all? Yes. She educated all my cousins. Full stop. That's our answer. My aunt was so wise that she educated all my cousins. That's our answer. Remember that teachers has stressed one important thing here. Very and so cannot be used in the same sentence. When I use very, there is no so. When I use so, very disappears automatically. So that's how we go. Try that activity given on page 14, following these very examples, and maybe a few of these examples given in the workbook, although some of them combine the two, something I didn't want to do. because I wanted to take you to teach one structure at a time. So on page 14, we are going to slightly change the instructions. Please follow. Written exercise. This is now what exactly is in your book, or should be in your book. These are the instructions we are taking. Join the following sentences using so that. The rest leave. Using so that. Yes. Rewrite. Okay. Join the following sentences using so that. We are going to use only this in that exercise on page 14. The other part of such that should be for a different activity. It should be even a mixed activity. So we have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 8. Yes. Numbers 1 up to 8. Join all of them using so that. It's what I've talked about in this chapter. We crossed to something strange, and this is now what we have just ignored. Using such that. This pattern or this structure has two different patterns we can use. One is that one with a singular noun, the other one is the one with a plural noun. So when the noun is in singular, this is the pattern we follow. It is such plus either a or an, depending on the adjective that comes after these articles. So we use such, a or an, plus an adjective. Plus a what? A common noun. Never forget this common noun. Never forget this common noun. It's always part of our structure. Using such, a or an, plus an adjective, plus a common noun, then plus that. So you can see what the teachers come to teach about is using such and that. Now this way we have our such. See where we have our that, meaning all these words must be added before you think of adding that. This is what we are going to follow. This is a formula we are going to follow to construct our sentences. Pattern 2 has such if the noun given is in the plural, so it comes without you placing any article between such and that noun. Okay? There's something slightly wrong here with this pattern. It is such plus an adjective. Sorry for that. If you are following and you have been constructing sentences using such and that, you've discovered we missed the word adjective. Such plus an adjective plus plural noun plus that. Plus that. So the adjective, if the noun is plural, the pattern, if the noun is plural, the sentence will flow like this. It is such plus adjective plus plural noun plus that. That's how we are meant to move. Let's look at these different examples. There are two. Yes, let's see what to do. Following this very pattern that he has given us, or our formula, as some people call it in mathematics. His stepmother is very sick. She cannot stand without help. His stepmother is very sick. She cannot stand without help. Rewrite these two sentences as one using such that. If the teacher will not tell you to use such and that, the teacher will just tell you use such that. It's up to you to choose to use an article after such or to leave it out. That is, if the sentence has a plural noun. Now let's look at this. His stepmother, the noun we're talking about is stepmother. Is it singular? Yes. So which pattern or which sentence pattern I'm going to use? We are going to use the first one because it is the one that uses a common noun or a noun that is in singular form. So we go. We say his stepmother, one word. His stepmother is such. When we use such, you don't need the very. I repeat, using such, you don't need the. His stepmother is such. Is it the or an? We have the word sick. Sick cannot come after an. It obviously comes after an. A sick Should I say a sick stepmother or a sick mother, a sick woman? We know all stepmothers are women, so we say his stepmother is such a sick woman. Yes. That is the common noun. That she cannot stand without help. So our answer is, his stepmother is such a sick woman that she cannot stand without help. That's our answer. That's our answer. Let's look at the pattern or compare our answer to the formula that teacher has given us, and we see. If it fits here, then we obviously know our answer is 100% correct. So the order is, after such, we go to an or a. We have such followed by a. After an or a, we go to the adjective, which is sick. After the adjective, we go to the common noun, which in this case is a woman, it is seen. After the adjective, the common noun, we use that, which is already seen. Meaning, our answer is not correct, but perfect. It is perfect. We come to this side where we see our very last example in that structure, using such that. Your brothers are very clever. They cannot fail any test. Your brothers are very clever. They cannot fail any test. Rewrite these sentences as one. Write those two sentences as one using such that. Using such that. So, using such that. So, remember our pattern. Look at the very noun that is given. The noun given is brothers. Is it in singular or plural? If it is in singular, we are going to apply a different pattern. If it is in plural, we are going to apply still a different pattern. So when you check, there is a pattern for the plural noun, and that is such plus adjective plus plural. The noun is brothers, which is obviously in plural form. So what do? We choose pattern 2, which caters for nouns, sentences with plural nouns. So we say, your brothers are such. After such, we go to the adjective, which is clever. After the adjective clever, we got the noun. Should we say your brothers are such clever brothers? Never. Your brothers are such clever what? Clever boys. Yes, your brothers are boys. Then we go to that. And the last part, which is they cannot fail in test. Check the they, capital T. Why? It is coming after a full stop. Now here I use small t because it is not a new sentence, it is not coming after a full stop. That they cannot fail any test. They cannot fail any test. That's our answer. That's our answer. And that being our last example, I think should be enough for you to answer the activity on page 15 of the workbook. We have an activity on page 15, and this activity is a mixed one. We have a mixed exercise about the use of so that and the use of such that. They are all mixed up, yes, in one activity. You read, understand the question, then answer according to the instructions that are given in brackets. On the same page 15, we see a structure that is using is dash, but, dash. That's the pattern. We saw on page 15. Is dash, but, dash. Do I need to say much about that? I think the examples we have in the workbook should be enough. When you read them, they can guide you properly. Apart from telling you that word contracts was supposed to be contrasts. The word is in the first line of the rule. Yes, the rule has only one line in fact. So the rule says, but is commonly used in contracts. They are not contracts, they are contrasts. I repeat, those are not contracts, they are contrasts. So change that word to this one. Contrasts. Why is that express completely different ideas? He is sick, he has gone to school. He is sick, but he has gone to school. Meaning, for us we understand normally, a sick child is not supposed to go to school. So if he is sick, but he has gone to school, it means those are contrasting ideas. They are totally different in meaning. When you consider what happens to sick people, you don't believe they should go to school. So we have our examples given to us. We have something like, Mr. Chuck is my father, Mrs. Chuck is my mother. Our answer here is, Mr. Chuck is my father, but Mrs. Chuck is my mother. Yes. Then Valeria is my aunt, Stuart is my uncle. Valeria is my aunt, but Stuart is my uncle. Simple as that, as it appears in your questions here. So we have an activity on page 16, connected to that very structure is dash, but dash. That activity is on page 16. Page 16, try it out using the very structures given in the instructions. Having done that, I take you to the big, it's what we call a family tree. A family tree. There are many kids who come to P.6 when they have never seen a family tree. The picture you see, one day I was teaching a child once, I think she skipped P.6. She told me she had never seen a family tree. She was wondering, where do family trees grow? Which fruits do they bear? Family trees. Where do they grow? What do family tree seedlings appear or look like? So this is what we call a family tree on our page 16. A family tree shows your parents, their grandparents, your brothers. In other words, it's like an extended family expressed in a kind of diagram. So what we see here is our family tree. You're going to study it and answer the questions that follow in full sentences, obviously. How many questions are there? 3, 4. There are 7 questions about this family tree. You answer them in full sentences. I say Mr. and Mrs. Gesser, then Mr. and Mrs. Glover. Meaning, if it is Mr. and Mrs. Gesser, there are 2 people, the husband and the wife. Remember when 2 people get married, they take the man's name, the woman's name somehow disappears. They take the man's surname especially, yes. They say Mr. and Mrs. Gesser, meaning the head of the family or the father in that family is Gesser. They got married and gave birth to Mrs. Vati and Mr. and Mrs. Glover. So that's it about that family tree. Study it and answer those questions that follow in full sentences. After that, we were talking about comprehension. Yes, we can still use the previous knowledge we got in the previous comprehension texts, and we answer these questions about the past poem on page 17. We have a poem on page 17. We are going to use the very comprehension guidance we've been getting from the teacher. You read it carefully, understand it well, and answer those questions about it. Remember to answer according to the tense, and again to answer in full sentences. Still, read and understand the question before you answer. It is better, I always advise you, to highlight or to underline that line or that stanza in the passage. In fact, the specific line where you got your answer from. For example, if I read question 3, that is C, as which relatives normally visit? Which relatives normally visit? I go to my poem, I underline the very area or the very line where I've got my answer from. I go to number F, which stanza talks about an extended family. go to your poem, check where the word extended family is talked about, then underline. If possible, that very word underline, that very expression of extended family should be underlined. After underlining it, you will obviously know it is in this stanza, then you write that as your answer. That's what I call highlighting the source of your answer in the poem. Using the same guidance, you'll try and work out that dialogue. There's a dialogue in form of comprehension. You read it and answer the questions that follow. It is between the son and the father. It went ahead up to almost the bottom of page 18. We see questions about it. Do the same trick you have done with the poem. Read it, understand, and answer the questions that follow. After highlighting or underlining the source of the answer, the very line where you're getting that answer from in the dialogue. That's what I want you to keep doing. That is about comprehension. The next comprehension is not even comprehension, it is a dialogue. That means it is under composition. Why? It is a filling dialogue. The instructions are the dialogue below took place between a daughter and a mother. What the mother said has been given. Complete it by filling in what you think were the daughter's words. Yes, filling the daughter's responses to the mother. Everything is clear, but about the filling dialogue, we are normally encouraged to read the second sentence before you. In fact, when you start dash, it's advisable before you answer, you read the words under the dash. Sometimes they contain the answer. Yes, they show you the answer that you're supposed to write in the dash above those words. That's the approach you can use for our dialogue. Don't just hurry, fill in after reading and understanding the following statements. What are they about? They give you a clue of what to do in the previous gap given to you. The passage on page 20, similar guidance I will give you. Read, understand, then answer in full sentences. Where they tell you to give, please just give. Don't go into the details of mentioning. Some questions were repeated here, and that should have been a typing error. Questions about the passage were repeated, so you can cross the first batch from number question A to F, then you maintain only the last questions. Question A to G. Question A to G are the very questions we want you to attempt. We say a composition, a free composition. This one should be for you and I, and that means only if we are together shall we complete or do this dialogue, this composition very well. I don't want to take you into the details of a composition. We don't want to fill a gap after mastering what the teacher wants. Yes, I would like to see what you're going to write in your composition when we are together. I guide you step by step, you write, I take a look, you continue like that. That's how we wish to teach compositions. Then we've reached page 22, where we see something connected to what is on the board. Using having. When do you use having? We're saying we use having and it is followed by the first of the two actions given in the sentence or sentences. Having, that pattern, is followed by the first action. In other words, there are two actions given, but the first appears just after having. That's what the teacher is talking about in that first bullet. The second bullet, the first action is expressed in the past participle. The teacher has been talking about the past participle forms of verbs all along. Now they are still following you, and they're going to follow you up to P7, up to senior 1. Do they end in senior 1? Up to, should I say, where you stop learning? They are part of your day-to-day English. Past participle verbs, you need to master them. Teacher, suppose you have never heard about them, where do I find them? Go to your dictionary, go to the section of irregular verbs. I'm directing you, irregular verbs. check that list of irregular verbs, you're going to see there are three columns. The first column is for the infinitive. The second column is for the past tense. The last column is for the past participle. For the past participle. This column contains the verbs that the teacher is calling the past participle verbs. In other words, the verbs that must appear after having. And those verbs given in the dictionary are only and only irregular verbs. What's the opposite of irregular verbs? Irregular verbs, the opposite is regular. If they are regular, it means they are past participle. Ends in ed. These English men and women believe irregular verbs are so easy to form. That's why they are not talked about in this list. The list contains only irregular verbs. They are the ones that challenge children the most. But regular verbs, whose past participles and past tenses are the same, ending in ed. For example, see cook, change to cooked. See bark, from that dog you have at home, change to barked. My dog has barked. Having barked several times, having cooked food. Now, how can we construct a sentence using this kind of past participle? That one must be a very, very lazy child. My mother cooked food, she served it. Having cooked food, my mother served it. That's what I'm talking about. But these are called regular verbs. However, the dictionary I'm sending you to make more research has a list of irregular verbs. They have the infinitive, the past tense, and the past participle. Let's look at this very verb. This is your right. This is sing. This is which will have. We have verbs like drink. We have verbs like teach. Let's change them to the past tense and then the past participle. Write changes to wrote, that's past tense. I wrote a letter yesterday. Sing changes to sang. If you sang a song yesterday, you say, I sang with A. I sang a song yesterday. Past tense. Then drink changes to drunk. If this is A, this should also be A. Drunk. Teach changes to taught. The teacher taught us last week. That is past tense. Changing to past participle. Having dash. What do you put there? Having dash. Having dash from drink. Having dash. Having dash a letter. Juma posted it. From wrote, we get the past participle as written. Having written a letter. From sing to sang, S-U-N-G. Having sang the song, the choir leader was given a gift by a master of ceremonies. Okay, drink. Then drank and drank. D-R-U-N-K. Having drunk all the milk, the dog ran out of the kennel. Meaning, it first drank before running out. That's what the teacher said. The first action is expressed in the past participle form. This is drunk, the drunk they're talking about. Taught. Teach, taught. And the past participle is taught. Having taught the lesson, the teacher started marking our books. Who taught the teacher? Before he started marking. There are two actions. The first one of the two appears after having. Punctuate the sentence with a comma before introducing the main clause. That's the last clause in our sentence. Let's look at the example. Remember to use a comma, to use the first action in the past participle form, and to use the first action just after having. I arrived at my grandmother's place. I was given a glass of water. Now, in the two actions here, we have arriving and being given. Which of the two took place first? Did he first arrive? Then he was given a glass of water? or he was given, which is abnormal, total abnormal. So obviously someone first arrived, then that person was given a glass of water. So we say having. When you check the verbs that we're talking about, you will discover having is in this category of irregular verbs. Verbs whose past tense and past participle forms end in ed. They are called regular verbs. Those that are not in this category are called the opposite of regular, which is irregular verbs. So we say having arrived at my grandmother's place. I was given a glass of water. I repeat my answer. Having arrived at my grandmother's place, I was given a glass of water. If you are very happy with this answer, then I will tell you there's something you've not yet seen. There's a small mistake. I call them small things that matter in your answer. In your answer, there are some tiny things that really matter. If you don't think they are important, then your answer is unimportant. There's something missing in this answer. Having arrived at my grandmother's place, the teacher has told you to punctuate the sentence with a comma before introducing the main clause. This is where the main clause starts. I was given a glass of water. That's our main clause. So before you introduce it, put a comma. Put a comma. Lastly, my half-sister went to bed after fastening her clock. My half-sister went to bed after fastening her clock. Answer, having what? Unfortunately or fortunately, all the verbs here. Before I say that, the attractions, my half-sister went to bed after fastening. Identify the action that took place first. If she went to bed after fastening her clock, which one took place first? Going to bed or fastening? After fastening means she first fastened. So fastening will come here in its past participle form. So we say having fastened her clock, comma, my half-sister. Check the hyphen, make sure it is there because it is written here in our question. My half-sister went to bed. I repeat my answer. Having fastened her clock, my half-sister went to bed. That's where we are, and that should be the end of our examples. Next is an activity on page 22 and 23. Try it out. It stretches from page 22 to 23. You may think there are very many numbers, but there are only 6. Teacher, there are 7. No, they are not 7, they are 6. We are removing only one number, and that is question 4. Question 4 is unbecoming. Let's not use it. Let's ignore question 4. We try only those 6 numbers. You can leave out question 4 because I'm personally not happy with it. So you can remove it. It may not work out for you. It may not add anything on to you. Next time we come, we'll be looking at a new topic, and that should be occupations. And under occupations, there's a subtopic. In fact, there are 4 subtopics. We have carpentry. After carpentry, see baking. Yes, baking. Then after baking, we'll talk about keeping animals. There's also tailoring. They have a specific order. There is a way they flow in your booklet, and you follow the order that was given in the booklet. Thanks for watching. This is the end of our lesson. Goodbye.